When you go to Thanksgiving, when you go to Christmas, when you go to Easter, whatever type of event has your whole family there, the one question, the one intention we should have on our mind is, how can I pour the most amount of love into this person?
The energy you bring, that's in all ways. That's in the questions you ask. It's in the activities you propose. It's about the topics that you either bring up yourself or give oxygen to. All those decisions make the difference between throwing a bomb in the family unit or starting a fire that everyone can sit around and enjoy.
And I think that is so important to understand. And I understand that this kind of goes against everything we've been taught.
And I invite anybody who might trend more anxious or maybe having this big event, meeting the parents come up, to just remind yourself that the parents of your significant other are a window into your partner. What's that smile?
Okay, your parents are both vegan.
Yeah.
And I am darn near carnivore.
Yeah, he is.
The complete opposite.
Yeah.
And I had the thing in my head of like, well, should I just eat the vegan tacos and the vegan burger and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, no. And
it's like, this is what I really want to impart. Is like really drop the need to convince anyone of anything.
This is a picture we need to paint immensely clear. And I understand a lot of people aren't ready to hear this, but this is what's happening. Every single person on this planet.
The truth of how you feel. You don't have to bark back. You don't have to bite back. You can just meet them with love, honor your desires, honor your truth, and we'll all get through the holidays in a beautiful, lovely fashion. Welcome back to Listen Before Love. We are back again, my darling.
I'm excited.
Oh, goodness. I hope everyone had the most wonderful Thanksgiving. We know it is the holiday season filled with, in some cases, cheer, in some cases, anxiety. I know everyone has a different relationship with their family, but we wanted to kick off this episode with some gratitudes. So every morning, as you know, Cam and I go through 10 things we're grateful for, 10 affirmations, and a high vibe habit for the day. And so we're going to do a little mini version and kick off with 3 gratitudes today. So I invite anyone listening to this, you lovely, lovely human being, to, if you can, just be with yourself, be with your breath, be with your body as we're doing these gratitudes, and then maybe pause afterwards and say 3 of your own. So I'll have Cam kick us off with 3 things he's grateful for right now.
Oh man, the first thing I'm grateful for is just all the events that happened in the past week and a half. We had your parents in town, and then immediately following that, I went to my retreat, the first retreat I've ever hosted. And then immediately after that, my parents in town. And so it felt like, I guess, more than 2 weeks of just nonstop entertaining.
Yeah.
But also it felt so loving and so peaceful, more than it's ever felt before. So I'm just really grateful for the past handful of weeks and the people that have come in my life around that. The second thing I'm grateful for is, honestly, this podcast. This was just an idea in your head a handful of months ago. And then our ability to just step into our light and execute on this. Mm-hmm. And especially you, because she, if you don't know it already, she is the driving force behind this amazing, beautiful experience that is Listen Before Love podcast. She's the one talking back and forth, the editors, the farm majority of the time. She's the one making the show notes. She puts so much time and just detail into every episode, and that's why they've been so great. And that's why they're receiving so much traction. It's all because of you. So I have a million things around you to be grateful for, but in particular today, it's the work you put into this amazing creation of this podcast. That's my number 2. Number 3, I'm grateful for my health. I realized like this is probably the healthiest I've ever been in my entire life. And I owe a lot of that due to, I think, the inner work that I've done when it comes to my attachment around certain foods, certain ways of being, certain lifestyles. And I'm really starting to find the right balance for myself in which I can be incredibly healthy and work out with you and eat great food with you, and also indulge in some ice cream and some pizza when it feels right. And so as a whole, my mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health, I really feel are doing very well right now. And of course, a lot of that is because of the actions I'm making in my life. And a lot of it's also luck. And so I'm just very grateful and fortunate for that at this moment. So those are my 3 gratitudes for today.
How beautiful. I'm so grateful for you, my darling. You are such a stable, solid foundation and a safe place for me to land every day. I love all of our adventures together. I love how open you are, how willing you are to look at all of these little experiments we're doing, whether it's not showering for 5 days or, confronting judgments we may have about ourselves or other people, and really just getting to the root of it. And your willingness to play and experiment and grow is so inspiring and really just brings a little sprinkly tear to my eye, because it's just so beautiful to be with someone who prioritizes his own freedom and like getting up the ladder of freedom with every little experiment that we try. So I'm so grateful for you, my darling. Every day feels like heaven with you, and I'm so grateful to be with you. I am so grateful for spending quality time with our families. I want to give a shout out to my mom and dad for coming to Austin like an HGTV crew and whipping our new home into shape like you have never experienced in your life. It truly looks like a model home now, and that is a large part to my mom and my dad for coming in and saying, let's do this, boom, bada bing, and there it is. And I'm so grateful for my mom's zone of genius just happening to be interior design, and my dad's zone of genius just being the mule who carries out all these tasks beautifully, like assembling a shoe rack in our garage, which is phenomenal, by the way. We use it every single day, and I think of my dad every time I see it. So I'm very grateful for my family. And then lastly, I'm very grateful for your family. Your mom and dad are so wonderful. I love spending time with them. I love that we spent probably about 6 hours each day they were here with them, just having great conversations and being totally present with them. And that quality time is so precious, and they are just so funny and so wonderful to be around. And they always teach me something a little new about you every time I'm with them. And I just couldn't be more grateful for our mom, dad, and of course, my darling. So those are our gratitudes. As we said before, Cam and I do this routine in a daily gratitude and affirmations called Great Morning. So if you could use more of that energy, come join us. It's free, and it literally is for the kindest, most amazing people on the internet all over the world. But I wanted to start the episode with that because honestly, it just felt right. Gratitude is incredible. I read something by Abraham Hicks about how 17 seconds of gratitude, truly embodied gratitude that you can feel in your body, can shift you into a more positive state. And it also makes whatever you say next even more powerful. So I invite you to pause, say 3 things at minimum. You can even say 10 if you'd like, that you're grateful for, and then return back to us. But now, with that, given the theme of our beautiful gratitudes, we wanted to talk about meeting the parents and spending time with your family during the holidays. This is inspired by recent events in our life for Thanksgiving, but also from the walks that we host every Saturday here in Austin. I've been noticing this recurring theme around how to not lose yourself and your sanity around your family. There's a beautiful Ram Dass quote that's like, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family. And there's a reason that quote exists. So we thought we would do a special holiday survival guide episode. Whether or not you're bringing your partner to meet your family, or you just need some help or support spending time with them and how to meet them most with love, this episode is for you.
I'm so excited for this one. Let's dive right in.
Yay! Where do you want to start?
I would say probably with meeting the parents.
Let's do it.
When we say meeting the parents, of course, we mean we have our significant other, a romantic lover, meet our parents for the first time. When I say those words, what comes to light for you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I think meeting the parents, of course, there are movies on this. There are very like dramatic scenes where people get all anxious and they stress about their outfit they're going to wear meeting the parents. I think it carries a different meaning for everyone, but for me, it's always been incredibly exciting. And I invite anybody who might trend more anxious or maybe having this big event, meeting the parents come up, to just remind yourself that the parents of your significant other are a window into your partner. They are the portal through which your partner was birthed, and they spent the most time with them than arguably anyone on earth. So, the one thing that comes up to me when I think about meeting the parents is really embracing a learner's and curiosity mindset. If you can go in not thinking about how do I impress them, how do I show them how smart or capable or whatever I am, and just ground into how can I be as curious as humanly possible about these two beautiful human beings who brought me my beautiful human being, my lover, my partner. If you ask yourself that one question and you just ask questions, you're going to have a great time, because one universal truth we know is that people love talking about themselves and they love talking about someone they love. So if you really want to make a good first impression for parents, just get them talking about either their two favorite topics, themselves or their baby. So that's the first thing that comes up for me when I think about that and think about how I would recommend going about it. But what about you, baby?
I couldn't agree more. It's like whatever you want to have the conversations be about, or whatever feeling you want them to have, you're going to be projecting that. And so if you want it to feel like Judgment Day for yourself, it will feel like that. But if you want it to feel like this incredible experience to get to know two people that have played such an integral role in the person you love's life, and you get to learn more about the person you love along with the family and all that, it can be that also. So if you approach it with a lens of curiosity, other than the lens of this is about me, this is the Judgment Day for me, how they feel about me, it will come off, your energy will shift in a way that will allow for them to become more open to you and more curious about you. It'll change it from judgment to curiosity, but it all depends on the energy you show up to that meeting with.
So if you had a best friend who came to you and was like, Cam, oh my gosh, I'm meeting my girl's parents. I think she's the one. What do I do? How do I make the best first impression on them? What would you tell your best friend?
Well, I wouldn't tell him a single thing he needs to be or say or whatever it is. What I would do is like, try your best to learn as much about the parents' lives as you possibly can. So if you're meeting the father the first time, meeting the mother the first time, what I would say to that friend is ask the father what was his life like when he was your age, when he was 25, when he was 17, however old you are when you're doing this. Get them talking about themselves. Get them in a mode where they're reminiscing and in nostalgia. Because when they're in that mode, you're getting the best version of themselves. They're immediately out of defense mode of this is my daughter, this is my son. I'm going to make sure you're perfect for them because we will only accept perfection. Whatever. If you get them out of the mode and get them into a mode of remembering the great memories they have about their own lives or the lives of raising that child, it will completely shift the dynamic. If you want the energy to be on you, it can and will be. You probably don't want that, to be honest with you. If you go in and be like, let's have the energy being on meeting them, it will be. And it's so fascinating because the level of confidence I had about myself and my relationship with a significant other has always been immediately felt. I've met a lot of women's parents, and a lot of women have met my parents prior to you. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole as to why that happened the way it did. But what I've realized from, let me try to count. I've met anywhere from probably half a dozen to a dozen parents before.
Wow. In a romantic context?
In a romantic context.
Wow.
That's a lot. But if I think about it, there's been a lot of like homecoming dates, prom dates, stuff like that. They'll probably add on a few more that weren't like, we're dating for a handful of months, time to finally meet them, whatever it is. It could have been more casual type thing. But all those conversations, I always just thankfully kind of knew, all right, I'm here to learn more about this person I'm now with. This isn't about me. And when I went into it like that, it's destined to go well. Because their child, the one you like or the one you're falling in love with, that's probably their favorite topic in the universe. And it's probably one of your favorite topics in the universe. So let's talk about that. So that's definitely the advice I would give is care less about your hair being a certain way, or you can't bring up the fact that you dropped out of college or this and that. No. What people want to feel is authenticity and truthfulness, integrity. That's what every man is looking for in the future husband for their daughter. They're looking for someone who is telling the truth, someone who's being themselves. And if you could do that, so when questions come up that may point to your past that may not have been the most ideal, and you're honest and truthful about it, they will feel it, and you'll get an immediate amount of respect around that. But if you try to wiggle around what happened or lie, that's only going to hurt you. And so, all that being said, if a friend came to me saying they're going to meet what they hope to be their future wives' parents, I would say, be your most truthful, authentic self, be kind, and most importantly, be curious about the parents. If you do those things, it'll go well.
I love that. I think as you were speaking, I was reminded of times, this is so funny, where I met people's parents. And so one of my like key patterns that I really had to work through is that I like being seen as smart. I'm very smart and I'm very fast and I have a lot of energy. And I'm just like a lot. Just period. Like I'm a lot in every area. And so the area of my personality or my being that I was most proud of, that I really wanted to make sure people knew, is that I was smart. And I think, to be honest with you, me wanting to look that way felt a little off because people were like, is she overcompensating for something? Or like, who is she trying to impress? What is she trying to prove by looking like she has the best things to say, the best moments, the best stories, the best advice? And I just share this in case anyone can relate, man or woman, that if you do identify as being an ambitious, smart person, let that drop. Like really, I invite you to just decenter yourself when you're meeting the family. Because like Cam was saying, the more you can take the spotlight in your mind off of yourself and trying to come across a certain way and onto another person, whether it's the mom, the dad, the sister, whoever you're in front of, put the spotlight on them in your head. Literally visualize the spotlight moving from you to the other person and become almost like an interviewer. Like think about it in the terms of like, and I'm just saying this as a visualization technique. Imagine that you are Oprah and that the person sitting across from you is the most interesting person alive. How would you act with that person? What kind of questions would you ask? You wouldn't be needing to tell all the best stories. If they have questions for you, they will ask. You don't have to preemptively bring up things that you think make you look good. So I'll give you, just to bring myself into it, because I really valued being smart, I would lead with all the things that I thought parents would love to hear, right? Like, oh, I have my own apartment downtown. That signals that I have money. Okay. Oh, I work at Facebook. I've been there for 7 years. I just went there out of college. That signals that I'm intelligent enough to get a job in big tech. I'm leading with all of these things. I host events in the city, one every week for the last 2 years. That signals that I'm consistent. Now you have to understand, underneath every single thing I'm saying is a signal that I want the parents to pick up on and be impressed by. Now, that's great and dandy. But there's like I was just breaking down for you, a reason why I'm saying these things. I am saying these things as a means to an end to signal a certain emotion or signal a certain, okay, I'm connecting the dots. This is a smart, competent, wealthy woman who also cares about the community. What a great fit for our son. Now, that's how you show up when you have something to prove or you have something to signal, right? But like Kim was saying, what if you were to just shed all of the things that you need, that you feel like the bio that I write about myself, I want to deliver it on a platter to the person I'm talking to? What if you didn't have to do that? What if the most loving version of you is the most present version of you? Like Cam said in our last episode, presence is spelled Love, which was such a banger. If you can drop yourself, your own focus on yourself and looking a certain way, you will impress anyone you're talking to because they will love being around you.
Let me go a little bit off on this. So what celebrities hate the most are people treating them like celebrities if they want to be their friend. Now, a lot of them feed off that, and it's all great. And we all love being, taking photos with, and people wanting our approval and acceptance. To some extent, that feeds our ego. That feels really good. But for the people that you want to accept into your family, accept into your small group of people you come in contact with, you don't want them to pedestal you in that way. It's a big turnoff for everyone. And as we're beginning to gain some popularity, anyone who comes to us like a fan, we're like, okay, you're in the fan category. You're not in the friend potential category.
True.
When it comes to families, whether we've been told this or not, a lot of us portray the families of the person we're about to marry as the king and queen, deciding who they're going to hand off their princess to. And because of that, like a humble servant, we come to their beck and call on our knees like, see, I'm worthy. I work at Facebook. I'm rich. Please say something intelligent so I can prove that I'm smart. Please. That's great. That's fine and dandy. That's what a lot of the world is currently doing. But what would make it feel as if you're on the same level is, other than coming to that interaction trying to prove that you're worthy, ask yourself, in this interaction, I'm going to collect a lot of data to decide if this is the family I want to marry into. What if we switch it to like, okay, let's see if I'm worthy of her or worthy of him, according to them, or is this the right kingdom in that example? Is this the right family I want to be connected with the rest of my life? And we're going to not approach it from a judgment lens of, ooh, okay, well, he's drinking a little too much alcohol. I don't know about that. Or she's not really taking care of herself. Is that what my girl's going to look like? None of that. Right. But just out of curiosity to learn more about them, to see if this is a mutual connection, a mutual two families that we want to bring together. Is this a happy marriage, not just for these people, but for everyone as a whole? If you view it through that lens of, hey, they're seeing if I'm the right guy, I'm also seeing them if they're the right family. Mm-hmm. When you shift it, you're now on the same level as them. It's no more servant and king. When you look at it like that, they can feel the energetic difference. And it's just like a celebrity with a friend. If you approach them in the right way, they see you in a different category. And they want to see you in a way where you feel like equals. A man does not want to hand off his princess to a servant. He wants to hand it off to another man worthy of being a king. And so if you go into the interaction understanding that you are becoming a king yourself, and that man is no better or worse than you, that is when he will feel as if you are quote unquote worthy of his daughter. And that's when trust, love, acceptance, everything you've been trying to get as the servant on your knees, you will get immediately.
So how does the king act?
A king cannot fake being a king. So if you want to prime yourself for quote unquote the princess, whatever it is, You got to live your life doing king shit. You have to be a prince striving for the betterment of your life, for the betterment of your future family in all moments. Because a real king can smell bullshit. They can smell when you're being inauthentic. They can smell when you're really not about that life. And so to be able to walk into that room with that amount of confidence, you can't just fake it. You can't just act your way through it. Now, that may work for some, but for a long-lasting marriage and relationship with not only this person, but this family, you really got to be about that life. Again, it all comes back to how you view yourself. And so I'm not trying to,
put me on blast. Put me on blast, yeah.
But if we're going into that conversation being like, I work at Facebook, I'm rich, please ask something because I'm smart and I'm also going to be dressed in my best outfit. I'm pretty. Please love me. No, no prince about to step into his kingdomship, or if you ever want to call it kingship, will be acting that way. Because to become a king, we must let go of the acceptance and approval of others. Because we believe internally and we act upon the understanding that we are perfect and we are enough exactly how we are. And if this princess that belongs to the quote unquote this kingdom, whatever it is, doesn't see myself as enough, thank you for letting me know this isn't the right family for me. Because another girl and their family will believe I am. But it all comes back to living your life in a way in which you believe you're worthy of their acceptance and love.
Ooh, I think this hits on something really, really important, which is feeling the need to change yourself to fit in to someone else's family dynamic. And so I'll give an example of one that I told you. So Cam's parents, hey, I know you're out there, we love you, are very, very healthy. And as y'all know, I love Diet Coke. And so I had a little bit of anxiety around drinking Diet Coke in front of them. I don't know why. I just felt, and even Cam kind of noticed it. And that was the one area where I would be like, oh, I don't want to almost like upset them or make them feel uncomfortable because I know that they probably don't like that because you don't like that. And so it's almost like the judgment that Cam felt towards me, I extended to his family because that's where he got that judgment, right?
Most definitely.
From his childhood. So it was subtle, right? I didn't not drink Diet Coke. I just didn't drink nearly as much as I usually do. And when we're in an environment where we feel this very subtle tinge of like, I should act this certain way because this is going to make them more comfortable and I'm going to sacrifice what I want to do in the moment to make them more comfortable, what should we do, baby?
Really address that change of behavior to see if it's really being authentic to you. And so I think that's a really good example because what I did notice, I mean, you've met my parents, you've seen my parents a handful of times, you were less needing to show you're intelligent than before. We did feel it to some extent, at least I felt it because I know you and they don't really know you. That's just their first, but I know you and I feel you deeply. So I understood the little bit of, hey, I'm good. I'm a good choice for your son.
You felt like I didn't need to do that?
I feel as if that was still there to some extent, but I can see how it lessened from previous times you probably had to do that.
Okay, got it. You're talking about the first time I met them or this time?
The first time we met.
Okay, I can see that.
That has lessened significantly ever since they got to know you.
Oh, great.
And they've, in their minds and their hearts, and in your minds, your hearts, value yourself for different things. So there's less things to prove to others. Also your parents. Now, the Diet Coke thing, I'm keeping it real. The Diet Coke thing, I think it makes complete sense why you feel that way. Yeah, I think another thing that I did when your parents were here is, understandably, it's late November and the wildest election in probably American history just happened. Yeah. And there's a lot of like unsettled emotions around that. And we definitely felt that from your parents. And that's completely okay for them to feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm also someone who is not invested in politics, and by choice. And I used to be deeply, and then I realized that's all an illusion, trying to distract us. But that's a whole nother story from there.
That's another podcast.
That's another podcast for probably not Listen Before Love. But what I'm saying to that is, there is a way in which we can entertain the conversations they want to have without necessarily going against our truth.
Mm-hmm.
So there were probably many topics that your parents believe in that I don't believe the opposite way of the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
I just choose not to care.
Yeah.
And there is a fine balance. This is something I think we learned through this trip, is like, I can have them speak their truth and conversate whatever feels right to them in the moment, and I can still be detached from it. And I don't need to share my 2 cents. I'm not really sure how that relates to the Diet Coke thing. But that's just something that felt right for me to say.
I think, that's
time.
your version of the Diet Coke.
I would say so.
You felt like we both had our challenges when we were around each other's families. And I think that like what we're underscoring here is even people with very high awareness and who really are ourselves in almost all moments, I would say very close to all moments, had these moments where we wanted to contract a little bit or like change our behavior to make other people feel more comfortable. What's that smile?
Okay, your parents are both vegan.
Yeah.
And I am darn near carnivore.
Yeah, he is.
The complete opposite.
Yeah.
And I had the thing in my head of like, well, should I just eat the vegan tacos and the vegan burger and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, no. No. This is, number one, my house. I'm paying the mortgage.
Uh-huh.
There's a fridge stocked with the highest quality steaks.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry for a steak.
Yeah.
I am not out of obligatory feelings going to sit there and eat a mushroom taco or a tofu dish.
Not the mushroom taco.
Just because I know they'd probably want me to.
Right.
And knowing them enough, they don't really care as much anymore.
Right.
But I could have easily went vegan for the week just to please them.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided, no, you can have your guys' thing, all 3 of you, and I'll be over here eating my steak. It doesn't matter. Now, I made sure I cooked the steak a little bit further away from their dish, so there wasn't no fats and oils, going into, their salad, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I was considerate that way, but I still did what felt right for me.
Yeah.
I also, this is an important part, I chose that love, light, and connection is going to be the way that I want to spend time with your parents. And so I was very detached when it came to things politically. And I'm also very detached where I am not going to engage in a debate around veganism and meat eaters.
I think this is actually really key, baby, because I had a conversation with someone recently where they went home, met the parents, and it was this exact situation. The family was vegan. He was like darn near carnivore. And all their conversations came back to a bickering match around the science behind veganism versus carnivorism.
There's no point.
And it's like, this is what I really want to impart. Is like really drop the need to convince anyone of anything. This is a personal lesson that Cam and I are moving through right now, like right now in this week, because I think we both realize that we're so passionate about what we talk about that there sometimes creeps in this energy of like, if I could only get them to see where I'm coming from. But you have to remember, not everyone has the ears to hear the truth that resonates for you. And not everyone is meant to resonate with the truth that resonates for you. And so going into interactions, trying to win will divide you rather than connect you. If you're going into a family conversation saying, the whole family's vegan and I'm a carnivore, and so now I've got to convince the family that they're wrong, you're not winning any allies there, buddy.
Yeah. I think people don't understand that we're all living in complete different realities. And so who people vote for, what they eat, whatever they believe is up in the clouds, guiding us all, their religion, whatever it is, they live in a complete separate reality from us. And there's really nothing I can say that would persuade them to come into my reality. And so what is the point? Do I so badly need to be proven right that I'm going to sacrifice the night that could be filled with board games and fun and great conversations about what's going on in our lives and our future to just try to have an ounce of a chance of then being more open to eating some ground beef? That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Because the problem is we either are sacrificing our truth to mold to their truth, or we're so grounded in our truth that we feel as if we need to grab everyone else to come here too.
Yeah.
Both are going to lead to a life that feels incongruent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to feel good.
Mm.
But there is a middle ground of those extremes in which you can stand on your truth without prompting a battle. You can stand on your truth. You can eat the steak around the vegans without needing it to turn into a common ground debate video.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and how you do that tactically is by not making comments that imply the way that you're doing things is better and putting people down. Because how a conversation devolves is by someone making a comment that say like, you're probably not getting enough protein. You know, like vegans just don't get enough protein. It's comments like that come from judgment, that come from I'm holier than thou, I'm smarter than you, that create an uneven playing field that the other person feels a need to remedy. But if you just don't say that, like I'll bring it to life with Cam. Cam cooked his steaks and didn't say a dang word. He didn't say one word the entire time, insulting vegans. He even said, like, I was vegan at a time and like, I like to experiment with my health and I'm very open to it. And my mom was vegan and like, that's great. He was openly supportive of it, which when you just diffuse any level of like, this could potentially turn into a war by just saying that vocally that you're supportive of that person, it all goes away. Because now we don't feel the need to win someone over or convince them that we're right or be so smart or pull out the research studies that say you're wrong and I'm right. There's no need for that. And people get stuck in these like little bickers and games for no reason. It does nothing but divide. And how I'd recommend you see when you go home with your family, whether you're bringing your loved one, you're meeting your partner's family, or if you're just spending time with your own family, which is a personal growth Super Bowl in and of itself, is that there are different levels of the game we can get stuck in around our family. Okay? We can make our experience as painful and divisive or loving and connecting as we want. And if we want to make it painful and divisive, we stay in the questions that imply judgment.
when you go to Thanksgiving, when you go to Christmas, when you go to Easter, whatever type of event has your whole family there, the one question, the one intention we should have on our mind is, how can I pour the most amount of love into this person? How can I pour this cousin I haven't really talked to in 3 years is kind of weird. How can I make him feel the most seen today? If you walk in to the room with that intention, your entire family dynamic is going to change.
Yeah.
It's going to evolve, because when you take the lead to become more loving, others naturally have no choice but to follow you. And that is how you create the family dynamic that you've always wanted. Be the change you want to see within that dynamic. And don't be the change by getting up on the counter and yelling that veganism is the way, or carnivore is in the way, or you should have voted for this person last election, or you should believe in this guy. No.
Yeah.
The way to create a more loving environment is to listen more, is to be present more, is to, like I said, sprinkle as much love as you possibly can into everyone there. If you do that, you'll actually get the end result you wanted the whole time.
I totally agree. I think it's like remembering that the energy you bring That's in all ways. That's in the questions you ask. It's in the activities you propose. It's about the topics that you either bring up yourself or give oxygen to. All those decisions make the difference between throwing a bomb in the family unit or starting a fire that everyone can sit around and enjoy. You get to choose. You're going to be the bomb, or you're going to be the warm, friendly, cozy fire for everyone to be united around.
I love the idea, like you mentioned earlier, of this being a Super Bowl. Yeah. Was it the Lightman Super Bowl, or you said something like
Personal growth Super Bowl.
Personal growth, because exactly what it is. If we see it as such, as if that little side comment your uncle's going to give you, whatever it is, if you see that as the perfect test to see how free and how loving you can be, how grounded you can be, it's going to make the whole event feel like a Super Bowl. And you win if you leave the place not having gone insane, not having got into a big fight, and feel as if you're able to sprinkle more love and connection with these people than you had prior to knowing them. Mm-hmm. That is the way to look at it.
Absolutely.
I think we've done not perfect, but an A rating as my parents are in town and you're in town for that. I think we did a fantastic job with that.
And I want to be tactical here because I think that what we're saying makes total sense, right? Like, bring the energy you want to see more of in your family dynamic. But some examples of things that you could do that are super connecting. If you're going to be around your family unit, maybe I'll give you an example. I go around and I ask everyone in my family during Christmas, what is the word of the year for 2025? I'm going to collect everyone's word. And I want you to tell me exactly why that's your word. And I have an iPhone note of everyone's word. That helps me get to know where is their head at for the next year. That helps me go a layer below the politics or religion or divisive topics. Like, that gets to the core of that person. And then no matter how I feel about them, this is egalitarian. I ask every single family member what their word is, and it bonds everyone because we now had a shared positive experience that everyone walked away thinking, wow, I got to reflect on that. Now I can remember that next year. Maybe I could do some journaling on that. So that's one thing that I did. Now, there are things that you might propose that not everyone's going to buy into. That's okay too. If you and a couple other people do it, that's great. I'll give you an idea that I brought to the party that did not land. When Cam's parents were in town, I love making vision boards. And I was like, do you guys want to make vision boards with us? And your mom was like, nah. And that's fine because I totally get it. That's not for everybody. That's me, though, bringing the energy I want to see more of to the equation. And whether or not people are gung-ho for it or they're like, nah, not for me, maybe next time, that's totally okay. Now, here are some other examples. Maybe you go around and ask everybody, what are you grateful for this year? What was one of the most exciting moments or things that happened to you this year? What's a word or an energy you want to bring into 2025? You know, what's something that we can hold you accountable for in the new year? You know, any questions like this, if you go around asking people these questions and say, I'm asking everyone this question, who's not going to like that?
Ooh, the last one to hold accountable for, a lot of people aren't going to like that. That is the last thing human beings want, to be held accountable nowadays.
But that's what I want to hear the answer to. Yeah. So this is a lesson in what authentic energy, just like the vision boards, feel very good to me that I can at least try to bring to the space. And if it doesn't land, who cares? Same thing goes for if I say I love you and you don't say I love you back. Who cares? You do these things not wanting to win approval, not wanting to win favors or win, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. You came up with this amazing idea. We don't do these things for that reason. We do these things because they feel good to us. And for whatever reason, our intuition said, you know, it would be really amazing asking this question. And whether or not it lands, doesn't matter. It lands for you.
I love that. There's one thing I really want to bring up here. I think it's so important when it talks about family dynamics and loved ones. And it was a conversation that you and I had probably a handful of months ago, in which I was having a few people come to me. Oftentimes they were middle-aged, and they were saying either it was their son or nephew or just family friend. They're saying, my family friend's son, whatever it is going through a really, really tough time right now. I want you to talk to him. Is it something you can do? And I brought this to your attention, and I believe you said something like, if they are coming to you to try to change them, they are the ones that need your help.
Yeah.
And not the person they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so important to understand. And I understand that this kind of goes against everything we've been taught. But people are on their own paths for a reason. And when you go to Thanksgiving, when you go to Christmas, despite having the same parents, despite having the same grandparents, every single kid is on their unique path. No better, no worse. Doesn't matter how much money one makes and what company they work for and the lack thereof. It all is perfect because they're all going through the life experience they're meant to go through. But what I see oftentimes happen in family dynamics is that oftentimes the parents or older siblings or younger siblings look at someone else in the family and saying, man, if only they did this, if only they did that, if only they were different, then they'd be enough. Then they'd be accessible. Then they'd be okay.
Then they'd make me more comfortable.
That's what's going on. There are certain people, oftentimes in your family that you love, that are acting in a way that you don't approve of. And that's making you question your own fabric of reality. And it's making you not feel okay within. And so the change we want to make on our cousin or our sister, whatever it is actually all projection of ourselves. And this is the real kicker here, okay? So you're like, yeah, Cam, okay, great. What if they're a crackhead on the side of the street, sleep with people, just not doing well at all? This is a picture we need to paint immensely clear, and I understand a lot of people aren't ready to hear this, but this is what's happening. Every single person on this planet is meant to go through exactly what they're going through at this moment. And if you look at someone who's a crackhead or whatever, quote unquote bad thing they are or doing, it oftentimes stems from a lack of love, a lack of feeling enough, a lack of safety that they felt either currently or in the past, oftentimes from the parents, that is causing them to live their life in a way to finally feel just an ounce of love, just an ounce of enoughness, an ounce of safety. And so what they actually need isn't for you to grab them by their own bootstraps and walk them into rehab or walk them back to school or whatever it is. It's to give them the thing they're lacking. Give them the thing that because they lacked are in the place they are now, the place that you don't approve of, the place that society doesn't approve of. The reason why they're there, the thing they're lacking, is feeling loved, is feeling enough. And this is the mind-breaking comment I made to those people that came to me saying, can you please help my friend so-and-so? I told them that the moment you unconditionally, fully love that person you're trying to help and let go of any need to help them, that's the moment they'll get better. Because what the black sheep of the family actually needs isn't everyone to be like, hey, what are you doing with your life? Come here, come back to our way of living. Come back to this, come back to that. They don't need that. It obviously hasn't worked. It never has. What they actually need is everyone at that Thanksgiving dinner to give that person nothing but unconditional love. To feel that from every single member there. And the moment they feel that, the moment they're given the one thing they probably had stolen from them when they were younger, once they're given that, that is when they will finally do what's in their best interest. Now, they could have been what was doing their best interest the entire time. For some, that's moving to a third world country and just peacing out on the beach. And then there's also some where I would say nearly objectively, they're harming themselves. Either way, all those people need is your ability to love them no matter who they are. And that is a solution. That is the way you genuinely help those you love. You're giving them the fuel they never had so they can finally get to where they're destined to go. Not where you want them to go, but where they're destined to go. So to bring this all home, whether you are meeting the parents, whether you are going to Thanksgiving dinner with people that are a complete different religious and political aisle than you, whatever it is, the one thing you can do that I would say would guarantee a better experience for yourself in those environments and for everyone else involved is to see how you can make everyone there feel more loved, feel seen, feel heard, and feel enough. That is the key to all relationships, especially family. And that is how you navigate this very complex, oftentimes divisive world in a way that's actually healing for everyone involved.
Wanting to change someone is the surest way they remain the same.
Yes.
Because the convincing energy of, you need to be this way, you need to do things this way, it will make people absolutely repelled from whatever you're saying. And I don't think it's a coincidence where you watch documentaries of people who are in really dangerous situations. Let's say they're in like an abusive cult situation or abusive relationship, or they're making decisions that, their family members can't understand. What I've noticed in every single documentary I've watched is that for years, the parents will text this person and say, baby, please come home. We love you. We miss you. You're being taken advantage of. You're being abused. Oh my God, how could you let this happen to you? Come home. And what happens? They don't come home. They stay right where they're at. And then the second the parents switch to stopping all of that and simply saying, baby, I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful that you're healthy. Let me know if you need anything.
I'm here to support your life decisions.
I trust your decisions completely. I trust that you will do what you feel is right. Right when their energy shifts in that direction, they hear from the person again. In some cases, after years of getting text after text after text that doesn't get answered. Why is that? It's exactly what Cam is saying. Because if you tried to change someone in your life, they're taking your need to change them as an attack, as a sign that you don't love them. It's a sign that they make you so uncomfortable that you need them to be different to feel comfortable in yourself. And they will literally repel you. What's that move? The Heisman?
A Heisman.
They will Heisman you away from them. And you will probably not hear from them or have a relationship with them or even get a text back from them. Because that's how people react to you when they feel judged by you.
Yes. It's all energetics, right? It's all a map of consciousness. So no matter how pretty of a bow you put on it, if you're trying to change someone, they can feel it. And what's actually happening is, whether you want it to be the case or not, you are throwing shame, guilt at them. Shame and guilt are the lowest vibrations possible that keep people stagnant, that keep people not being able to get out of bed.
Or pride.
Pride. All these things are low survival paradigm emotions that we are sending their way that will only keep them more deep rooted in their suffering. Opposed to sending them unconditional love. I support you. I love you. I trust your decision making, which is the highest vibration energy we can move their way. That is the exact thing they need to empower themselves to make the right decision for them.
Wow. It's like when you make peace with the fact that you don't need to change them, they will want to change for themselves.
But it doesn't matter because you made peace with
You
it.
made peace with this, so you don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Is it a cherry on top? Yes.
Perfect. You're just like, oh, okay, great.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. Someone's acting in their best interest. This is great.
Yeah.
But the second you truly make peace with the fact that like you are living your own journey, they are living their own journey, and they will continue to do what feels right to them, and you trust them to do that, is when your relationship heals. And if you go at it from pride, I know what's best for you. You don't know what's best for you. That's disrespectful to their own agency. They're living their own reality. And they need to be walking this path right now. So who are you to say, no, you got to be doing this. Oh, no, you should be doing this. Oh, you're being taken advantage. That's maybe not their lived reality in that moment.
And it's funny. I remember this because I had friends. I'm like, man, if they only got to their parents' basement, if they only did this, only did that. And then I'd start listing all these if only statements. And then I realized every if only statement I said was to make them be more like me. Man, if only they got a haircut to look this way. If only they did this, only did that, only ate this way, the exact same way I was eating. Only if they went to school here and did that exact same thing I did. When you realize that, oh, I'm trying to make him a clone version of me, then they'll be okay. It's the ultimate form of like ego.
Mm-hmm.
You're not good enough. Your human experience is good enough how it is. You need to become more like me. You need to have the same exact political ideology. You need to see the world the exact same way I do, or else you're wrong.
And that's where that's beautifully said, baby. That's really where it's coming from is, hey, how you're doing things? No. Do them my way.
You're happy? I don't believe you. You got to be like me.
And it's really beautiful because I think something that's become so obvious to us as we talk about like staying grounded in ourselves around family. It's like if you stay rooted in your own energy without trying to convince, without trying to say, like, I remember this one conversation when my parents were in town and, you know, my mom, it was the week after the election, emotions were very highly charged. And we were sitting down after dinner and my mom, we were basically trying to explain to my mom and dad how we don't focus on politics because we believe it's a distraction that divides us. And we're explaining, Cam goes on this beautiful, I wish he could redo it right now for you, maybe 15-minute speech.
That was JFK.
That
was some of my best
JFK's
work.
spirit came into Cam's body and gave this speech. And literally it went in one ear, out the other with my mom. It didn't land at all because she didn't have the ears to hear it. And like, God bless her because she was open to it. I love you, Mom. I know you're listening. And I know she was sitting there thinking, this man is a loon. And that's okay.
And I'm not right.
And we're not right. We're just sharing
That's
our
just my truth. And she has her truth.
Yes.
And there's nothing about my truth that may be truthful in her truth.
Yes.
There's nothing about her truth that's maybe truthful in my truth. It's completely okay. We can still mutually love and respect each other. We can have that way in between people that are together.
Yes.
We can have different truths and also be like, oh, these truths can also coexist simultaneously.
Yes.
Don't need to morph into one. I don't need to make you into me. You don't need to make me into you. We can live, we can coexist simultaneously.
And I think that what was so beautiful about this moment is that Cam gave this speech that like we believe in so strongly about how what we believe is that instead of focusing on like national politics or even local politics, we do so many projects that have a direct impact on people. This is one of them. Like we're talking to people and spreading love in this way. We do our great morning calls. We do the walks every week. We prefer to put our energy and our focus on things we can control and we can literally see the impact of. Now that's our personal preference. What that means for us is that national politics is a distraction from our work. And I don't feel more energized consuming that content. I feel more afraid. So that's the thesis of what Cam's speech was. Now, after that conversation, both parties, my parents and us, had a mutual understanding because it wasn't just us speaking. We also heard them out in the same exact way. We had a mutual understanding that we're in two different realities. And that is okay. And for the rest of the trip, we didn't go there.
It was perfect. It was a mutual respect.
Yes.
We both kind of flew, and I wouldn't say the white flag. We didn't give up by any means. We were just like, all right, let's just focus on the other million aspects of life that we all love, agree with, and just enjoy and make us feel better talking about.
Yes.
And bonding over.
And that wouldn't have happened if, and this is what I think a lot of people do, one party bends to the other. You bend to someone else's truth. So for me, in that situation, that same situation just gave you, let's say 5 years ago, I would have let myself be sucked into the political conversations in order to make the other person feel validated. Now, we did not do that, and we felt so much better about it.
That was happening to the exact same extent that on the first date of meeting the parents, you had to prove yourself. They're the exact same vibration, state of mind that would cause one to, in that example I gave, kind of be the servant, proving your worth to someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same energy being like, I need to prove that I'm right about the border or about whatever.
Yeah.
So when you realize that, when you have the awareness of why we're acting in that way, we say this to empower everyone out there because we had to learn this ourselves to empower ourselves to move past that.
Yes. And so we will leave you with this because we're running out of time over here. But one question that I'd recommend, or even just statement that I'd recommend you bring to these moments, if you struggle with like being dragged down to topics that you don't enjoy talking about, is really just look someone in the eye and say, I'd really prefer to focus on topics that bring us closer together.
Oh, man. Imagine someone after that be like, no, I want us divided.
Right.
That's not
and
gonna
it's
happen.
like, I'd rather focus on hearing about your life. Like, how has the last year been for you? I only get to see you once a year. Like, what's been going on? Who are you hanging out with? What's the most exciting thing happening in your life? You have any big wins at work lately? Like, you can set the frame and you can also honor your desires that a conversation someone else is bringing to you, you don't have to just meet them there and stay there. You can shift that conversation in any moment by honoring your feeling. Now, when I had a feeling deep within my heart and my soul that I didn't want to talk about politics, to this day, I don't talk about politics with people. If you were to ask me, hey, what's your political opinion? I don't focus on politics. I focus on my individual local work with people one-on-one in groups that make me feel like I'm contributing to a more loving, more positive, and more joyful society. That's what I choose to do. And if someone were to press me and say, no, you need to have an opinion. No, I don't. I understand why you might be passionate about that. I really admire your tenacity here, but I don't. And I'm not going to engage on it. You can own it just like that. You won't die. You're not gonna be punched in the face. I mean, maybe, but no one is going to attack you for owning your desire and owning the feeling in your body that says, I don't want to talk about this. You don't have to surrender to what someone else's agenda is for you. So going into the holidays, just remember that. Honor your desires. You don't have to struggle through conversations you don't want to be in. And you can be honest with people. If they are bringing up something, whether it's politics or, hey, you gained a little weight here, or any of these comments, oh, what's going on with work? Haven't been promoted yet? You choose how you engage in these conversations. Meet them with love, and you're going to have great holidays. Meet them with love and truth. The truth of how you feel. You don't have to bark back. You don't have to bite back. You can just meet them with love, honor your desires, honor your truth, and we'll all get through the holidays in a beautiful, lovely fashion.
All jolly.
All jolly, baby.
That's the playbook. That's the game plan.
I love it.
I love it too.
Oh man, what a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Listen Before Love. We are so grateful for you all. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. If you have any questions you would like us to talk about in our upcoming Q&A episode, please feel free to DM us or put it in the suggestion box below. But until then, we are so grateful for you. Happy holidays. And remember, You choose how these holidays go, baby. They could be as joyous or as downright aggravating as you choose.
You create your own reality. Pick one that you want to live in. That's going to be fun. That's going to be loving. And that's it for today. We unconditionally love you all. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye, y'all. Love you.
See you.
Bye. Thank you for watching that beautiful episode. If you enjoyed it, we would be so grateful if you subscribe to our growing channel or liked this video. We also exist everywhere you get your pods, whether that's Apple or Spotify, wherever it is. And we would be so, so grateful if you hit that 5-star button. If you love our conversations, these little things seem like, oh, who cares about that? It makes a difference. And so we are so, so grateful for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sending us questions and all of your thoughts on our episodes. If you want to hear more from us, you can go here or down here or over. Wait, where's your hand, baby? All the way over here. He left me hanging today. We are so grateful for you. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you next week, lovers. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Baby just said.
Let's have one outro. It's like,
while I'm talking? Yeah, why not? We just keep this in.
he was like,
let's just keep it in.
he was like, baby, I'm like,
This is a face that Cam does to me all day long. As you know, that's why I fell in love with him. Is this face right here? Oh my. Vitality. I love you.